What happens to us when we die? What's that white light people keep talking about in near-death experiences? And are reptilians actually real? Well, according to Reddit user Esoteric Ninja, this world is a prison planet, and our captors are actually reptilians who function on a higher dimensional plane. A massive farm used by various parasitic entities who are using us and have been using us as energetic food for what appears to be a really long time. Welcome to the bottom of the rabbit hole. He is claimed to have thoroughly investigated near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, astral projection experiences, past life regression, hypnosis data, remote viewing data, Gnosticism, and ancient texts. You see, two strange things seem to happen to nearly everybody who has experienced an NDE, also known as a near-death experience. The first thing that people who have experienced NDEs claim is that they will hear the voice of God. The second thing that people with NDE experiences claim is that they see a white light. They say that this white light feels like pure love. Essentially, it's happiness incarnate. The research that Esoteric Ninja has done suggests that the tunnel of light which appears when we die is a trap designed to wipe the whole memory of our last incarnation and to recycle our souls into another body, keeping us in an endless loop, trapped here on Earth forever. Strangely, however, some people actually remember their prior lives.
The most compelling evidence comes from the work of the late Dr. Ian Stevenson and his successor, Dr. Jim Tucker.
This work began here at the University of Virginia back around 1960. Ian Stevenson was the chairman of the Department of Psychiatry. When he heard about these cases from various parts of the world of very young children who said that they remembered previous lives. And he was curious enough where he decided to investigate and spent the next 40 years of his career traveling to various parts of the world. And he and his colleagues during that time, we've now collected over 2,500 cases of these young children who were making these claims. One way to test this is to see if what the child says actually matches a particular person who lived and died in the past.
We can pretty much rule out fraud in most cases because Dr. Stevenson was a very careful investigator.
He wrote in an academic style and like a lawyer, presenting the witnesses, where the evidence came from. He had subjects take lie detector tests, sign affidavits. He was so concerned that the evidence would be accepted in the scientific community.
James Leininger was a little boy in Louisiana who began saying that his plane had crashed, that he had been shot down by the Japanese. He gave some very specific details. In fact, this was when he was 2, and he was able to say that he had been shot down by the Japanese and that his plane had flown from the Natoma, is what he named the boat that his plane had taken off of. In addition, the boy later saw a picture of Iwo Jima and said that was where he was shot down. Also, began saying that he was the 3rd James. When his dad searched online, he eventually found that there was the USS Natoma Bay. The Natoma Bay was involved in the Iwo Jima operation. There was one pilot from the Natoma that was killed in Iwo Jima, and his name was James Houston, Jr. So James Leininger would be the 3rd James after the junior. Another detail that James gave was that he had a friend named Jack Larson, and it turned out that there was another pilot on the Natoma named Jack Larson. The child was talking about a past life from more than 50 years before, which is unusual in our cases. So there's seemingly no way that he could have known the details that he came up with.
However, there are hundreds just like them.
Dr. Erlander Haroldson has investigated over 60 cases in Sri Lanka.
I was a man before. My real name is Jinadasa. What I did in those days was to manufacture incense sticks and then distribute them to shops. We had vehicles, but mostly I went on pushbike.
As a small child, Purnima could describe not just the way she used to make incense, but the names of the brands she sold, Ambika and Getapicha. In Kelaniya and Goda, 140 miles away, live the Vijaysiddhi family, who are incense makers. They are the only family in the country registered to make Ambika and Getapicha incense, the brands Purnima talked about. One member of this family, Jinadasa, was killed in an accident 4 years before Purnima was born. When Purnima first described her past life memories, these families, separated by distance and class, had never met.
That day, Jinadasa and I, we started together from Gargani Junction and separated at Wellimpicha. We were on push bikes with our incense packed in boxes. Jinadasa said he was going to Dalkanda, so I sold my incense nearby. Then someone asked me, where is Jinadasa?
I got down to the Dalkanda junction and I had to cross the road. I got off my bike and tried to cross to the other side and I saw a bus coming. I didn't like the way it was heading towards me, but then the bus came right by and it knocked me down. When I opened my eyes, I was under the bus.
At about 2 in the afternoon, the police came and showed me a packet of incense and said that the person who was selling this had been run over by a bus. It was the Nukugoda police, and they had a packet of Ambika incense, and then I realized what it meant.
He suggested we investigate the matter together to see if there was any truth to the story. We made inquiries here first because Purnima had remembered praying at this famous temple in Kelaniya before. We asked if there was anyone near here who made incense sticks. I was told there was a village across the water over there, where there were several families who made them. We managed to find the place, and eventually discovered that someone who made incense sticks had died in a road accident.
We spoke to Purnima about it and decided to go there. I realized it was true because Purnima had directed the driver straight to the house. After we got out, she led us there. I couldn't believe how strong her memories were. She talked about how we pass a pond and described the house exactly as being on a higher level than the road.
All the family, including Jinadasa's wife and daughter, are convinced that this 12-year-old girl is his reincarnation. They said they were sure from the moment they first met.
It turned out that Purnima had the very marked birthmarks on the left side of the chest, and these birthmarks correspond to the fatal injuries of Jinadasa. We were able to trace the post-mortem report regarding the death of Jinadasa. He was run over by a bus, and his ribs on the left side were broken. They penetrated his lungs, and probably the greatest pain he felt was on the left side. But of course, birthmarks start to form in embryo. They are not a matter of any cultural influence.
According to user Esoteric Ninja, these people have somehow managed to escape the white light. They've turned away and returned to their bodies. According to Esoteric Ninja, reptilians are both spiritual and physical beings. They've been called out by ancient civilizations for thousands of years. Jainism in Hindu talks about the Naga, who they describe as half humans, half serpent deities. The Aztecs used to worship the Quetzalcoatl, who they described as serpent-like gods. And the Hopi Indians of North America referred to a race of reptoids called Shedi, or translated as snake brother. The African shamans claim to bear extensive esoteric knowledge from a race of reptilian beings called the Shatari, whom they say control the earth. In Chinese, Japanese, and Korean legends, they talk about a race of reptilian beings called the Kappa. Oh, and the Gnostics? Huge in the conspiracy corner. The Gnostics, they talk about a parasitic entity who they call the Archons, who not only use humans as an energetic food source, but they also coincidentally prevent our souls from leaving the material realm upon death of our physical bodies. Would it be fair of us to simply dismiss these cultures as barbaric and idiotic, especially when they coincidentally seem to describe the same entities? According to user Esoteric Ninja, the reptilians are both physical and astral beings. They've been heavily involved in the manipulation of mankind for thousands of years, and are responsible for setting up the soul traps around the planet with the help of extremely advanced technologies. The reptilians have established an energy grid around the planet in order to lure us, souls, into the tunnel of light that is spoken in the NDEs, or near-death experiences. It's essentially a trap used to erase our memories and prepare us for our reincarnation back onto the prison planet. But why? What's the point? Well, the reason they want to keep us here is because they need to feed off us energetically. When people go through any kind of suffering, these entities feed off our lower frequency emotions, such as pain, fear, grief, lust, and anxiety. This is because they are low-frequency beings that require low-frequency energy. The reptilians are highly intelligent, highly advanced technologically. However, since they didn't evolve quite like humans in the third dimension on Earth, they lack empathy, which kind of makes them incredibly dangerous. But here's the caveat. It would be hypocritical for humans to judge the reptilians for doing the exact same thing we do to livestock on the planet that we're living on. We kill billions of animals every year for food, for energy. You can't blame them. They're doing the same shit to us that we're doing to other living creatures. That said, it seems that we're still stuck in the reincarnation cycle. The prison planet. The Matrix. Indefinitely. We're still cattle. And if you're thinking to yourself, wow, this is a bunch of nonsense, Bernard Carr, a professor of mathematics and astronomy who studied under Stephen Hawking and earned his doctorate at Cambridge, said this: our consciousness interacts with another dimension. Our physical sensors only show us a three-dimensional universe. What exists in higher dimensions are entities we cannot touch with our physical sensors. These parasites, entities, reptilians exist mainly but not exclusively in the astral plane. It's a different dimension that exists outside of our limited five-sense perception. Hopefully I have your attention by now. According to Esoteric Ninja, when we're out of our bodies, the laws of physics as we know them no longer have the same effect on us, as we find ourselves in a different realm, which we are able to do things that would be impossible in the physical world. Our souls are pure energy. So in the astral realm, we can change the shape of our astral body or spirit into anything we want simply by willing it to happen. Because unlike the physical world, we can use our consciousness to manifest a different looking body in an instant, since we are no longer affected by the physical laws and limitations. We can also fly around or teleport simply by using our intentions to do so. We can even go to higher vibratory realms, which is said to be where the good-hearted people exist. But your energy has to be high enough. And so we come to Nikola Tesla. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, you have to think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. This idea plays heavily into the Illuminati. I know, it's cliche. The Illuminati, Gnostic, and ontological mathematics conspiracies, which I will cover in later videos. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Esoteric Ninja writes, if you understand that in the astral, any entity can change the shape of its astral body into anything it wishes, then you realize that even the most malevolent entity possible can present itself to you in a different form to trick you into thinking you're speaking to God, or your guardian angel, or even one of the members of your family who has passed away. They do this because they know that you trust in these religious figures, and once they gain your trust, they can easily manipulate you into doing things that are not in your best interest at all times. They masquerade as beings of light that emanate a fake sensation of love and peace to make you think that they're the good guys, who are there to guide you and to give you your next mission to fulfill. Strangely, this is actually mentioned in the Bible. And no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. Corinthians 11:14. Esoteric Ninja writes, if you don't enter the tunnel of light when your time comes, you need to be aware that these entities will present themselves in the forms of angels, Jesus, God, saints, guides, ascending masters, guardian angels. They're going to try to convince you that you need to go back to Earth so you can pay your karmic debt, or continue learning, or that you have to go back with a special mission to fulfill. Which is complete nonsense, but we keep falling for these scams because they tend to make sense from our narrow pre-programmed perspectives. And good luck fulfilling that special mission if you can't remember what the mission was in the first place. We put blind trust in what they say to us because of our religious indoctrination, and these beings know that. They can't force us to reincarnate because we have free will, but what they can do is convince us to come back to Earth and fix problems that we've messed up, to evolve, to learn, to grow. These are the tricks. They want us to think that we have some sort of karmic debt that we need to pay back, but ultimately, we're just spirits. And what they're basically doing is they're using our own free will against us. The real purpose of continuous reincarnation is a soul enslavement disguised as spiritual evolution. A free will decision is impossible without memory and information. Because our memories are being wiped after each lifetime, many of us live under the illusion that we are currently living our first lives on the planet, and we came here to learn. Learning about life on Earth and experiencing it would be useful if we didn't lose our memories after each time. But it doesn't matter what we learn here as long as everything else gets erased after each reincarnation. And we have to relearn everything from scratch, over and over again, in an endless loop. Earth is a prison planet, camouflaged as a cosmic school. This idea of a cosmic school has been going around in order to trick souls into wanting to come and stay here in order to learn. This whole matrix is designed to drain our energy, wipe our memories over and over again, and keep us trapped. Esoteric Ninja continues. Many people went through near-death experience even recall being accompanied by a loving angel who showed them their life review. The reason the entities show us our life reviews is so that we can relive the moments from our lives in which we made certain mistakes, and by reliving those moments, feelings of guilt, shame, remorse are being generated inside of us, making us want to compensate for them. These beings then use the feelings against us, telling us things such as, you have made these mistakes, you have to go back and fix this and that. No one's perfect, we all make mistakes. Because being human, it's impossible to not make what we perceive to be humanly mistakes. New Age believers who promote calling upon your spirit guide, guardian angels, ascended masters, and religious figures for help are actually doing huge damage to themselves, to all of humanity, and they're not even aware of it. You are everything you need to succeed. You are a powerful creator being, and you don't need to give your powers away to anybody. In most religions, you are led to believe that at the moment of death, you will have some form of spiritual judge. These entities take advantage of this conditioning. Religion has also given you the sense of being a guilty sinner who has to worship, obey, and pray to a certain god, depending on your religion, in the hopes of an afterlife salvation. Even if you're an atheist, when you see this God or Jesus figure that's right in front of you, right there in the astral, you might start to have second thoughts about what you thought about religion back on Earth. And you'll most likely end up accepting what these entities want you to do because your perception of reality can change in an instant in a shocking and surprising scenario like that. Because when you're confronted with Jesus, you're gonna start thinking certain things, and these entities can just transform into it. Like, if you were standing right in front of Jesus, and you just died, you're gonna believe it. According to Esoteric Ninja, if you're born somewhere in Europe, North America, South America, for example, then the main religions of those areas tell you that God put you on this earth to live your life. And at the end of that life, there will be judgment. God will then decide whether or not you go to heaven or hell for eternity. But what if you're born into other areas of the world, such as the Middle East or India or any other country, region, which the main religion is either Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism? These religions teach that after death there is reincarnation. No heaven, no hell. So why is it that the place that we're born on the planet dictates certain beliefs in something so important, such as our own existence beyond physical life? Will random luck really dictate what's going to happen to each one of us at the moment of our deaths? Will each of us have a different afterlife fate just because we're born in a different place around the world? It's all part of their game of deception. But the more you expand your awareness, the easier you can see through the lies and deceit of the social and religious programming that we've all been through one way or another. But don't be mistaken, this does not mean God doesn't exist. This doesn't invalidate the teachings of your religion. This is simply a higher entity, reptilians, toying with their spiritual teachings in order to manipulate us back into the farm. So why does God allow this? Why are we allowed to be cruel to forms of life that we personally deem below us? It's free will. It's free will. Because we, just like these entities, have free will. Humans slaughter these animals because we need something from them, which is energy in the form of physical food. We think we are entitled to do what we do because we are superior to them, and we need to survive. We perceive these things to be normal and a part of life. From the perspective of the animal, however, if they were aware of it, we would be their reptilians. Since we operate just like them, but we never see ourselves that way, we don't think that we're the bad guys, because all we do is try to survive. The entities don't see themselves as the bad guy either, since they're also trying to survive. What we do to the animals is almost exactly like what these beings do to us, and they need to keep us imprisoned here to feed off of us, just like farmers keep their cattle locked up in farms and stables to get what they need from them. So according to the Prison Planet Theory, the third-dimensional planet we experience through our limited senses is essentially an energy farm, a soul trap, which purpose is to keep us in a continual reincarnation cycle through collective amnesia, a steady supply of regenerative sustenance for reptilian beings. In the same way we slaughter unsuspecting animals, we too also are farmed ourselves, like livestock. We are much lower on the food chain than we are able to comprehend. This sounds insane, but what do you think? Since this particular rabbit hole goes really deep, I can't cover it all in this one video. So if you like insanity and weird shit, please like and subscribe and wait for the next video. Alright, thanks. Bye.